Recording has started.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is the revised MnCHOICES call-in session for March the 13th. Thank you for coming. This is Teresa Vanderbent, your host for today. This slide shows the staff that are on today's call with me and the both support and the policy folks for this call, and they will from time to time be demonstrating and answering questions and doing other support for the call. So this session is being recorded. You heard me ask Taylor to start the recording. You will be able to go and listen to the session on the DSD archive as a YouTube recording. You are all muted. The way that you will ask your questions are to raise your hand, and then we will call on you in order. We will unmute you. For today's session, the question and answer and chat are not available except for maybe the first 10 minutes, and that's just to make sure you aren't having technical issues. This PowerPoint was not sent out because the goal for these call-in sessions is to just have them be question and answer sessions. We do have some slides, however, to show to you today. So really today's agenda is to address some of the concerns we've been hearing that you are having, and then to answer your questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So here are some of the issues that we have been hearing being raised lately. So people have wanted an offline live demonstration. And then I thought I would talk a little bit about the resources to guide you. We're going to talk a little bit about how to use the current functionality document as a way to help you think about how to organize it for when you're thinking about an approach, working with a person or working in a forum to help make it less daunting. We're going to talk a little bit about the assessment results, and we're going to do a demonstration on that. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about case mix workarounds, just a slide. And then lastly, I have been asked a number of times to demonstrate adding attachments to a person. So I'm going to take the time to add an attachment to a person so you can see that. And then we're going to talk to you a little bit about how prioritization and then fixed releases are going to look going forward, at least just some basic information about when you'll learn more. So let's go ahead and get started. So I am going to demonstrate how to take forums offline in the MTZ environment that's on the AWS platform. And both Kathy Bondrum and Heather Finlayson have been testing the Help Center offline forums guide, and we're going to do a couple of tweaks to it. And Heather Finlayson used the the micro learnings as her way of walking through the forums as well. And so I don't know, do either of you want to say anything about that? Or would you like me to just go ahead with the presentation? I know that you will be available if people have questions about it, but I know that they found both as a reasonable way to learn how to do offline. So Heather literally put the video up on one side and the application on the other and walked through it as the video walked through it, and Kathy walked through the step-by-step for Smart Guide and learned how to use and test offline in that manner. And so what I'm going to go ahead.
Hey, Teresa, this is Kathy. No, I was just going to say, I think you said it beautifully. That's exactly what I did, was I just had the Smart Guide up and was walking through the Smart Guide as I was going through the steps in the system. So it was very helpful for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Heather,
Teresa. Thanks, Teresa. This is Heather. Yeah, I was just going to say that, as a visual learner, having the micro learnings available was really good to help me prepare for what I would see when I was offline, because you're obviously not connected to the internet at that point. So, and then also, like you said, using the micro learning side by side while I was trying to take forms offline and online was very helpful. So thank you.
Yep, thanks. And the reason why I had them speak is part of what you have been running into in your current MTZ platform is some roles and permission issues with offline. We have been working to address them in the AWS platform, the new MTZ platform that you'll be moving to, and you have not moved there yet because we have been working through permissions and cleaning them up. I anticipate that you will hear something about it soon. I just am not sure when. And so I will demonstrate how to take a form offline from the MTZ AWS platform. And so we'll go ahead from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm logged in as a certified assessor. That's my role. You can see it right here. So which means I'm going to take an assessment offline since that's the way I logged in. So I'm going to pick Alan Me. And we're going to wait a few moments. I'm going to go to forms. Then to take forms offline, to check them out, you have to use the filter. The role of the filter is to really select which forms you want to take offline. So I'm going to take an assessment offline. Oh, it's going to show me the record exists. And then so I see that we have a hand raised. I'm wondering if we want to take it as we go through this. Beth, how do you want to do this if people have questions as we demo?
Teresa, it's up to you. The person who raised their hand lowered it.
Okay.
I think
Okay. So
we're
yeah,
okay.
just know that if you raise your hand during this section, I expect that it's about offline, and so we will call on you. So just so you know, so if that's not your expectation, you might want to keep your hand down. So I have used the filter. It is showing me only MnCHOICES assessment forms. You can see that here. It's showing MnCHOICES assessment. I have found my assessment that's in progress, and I'm going to the ellipsis and I'm going to check it out. I'm going to click continue. Yep, you've got the right one, I'm going to say. It's showing me that it's been downloaded and checked out. I'm going to go do another one too, just so you can see that you can do a couple at a time. So I'm going to go to my Angie Taylor, do her form. And again, I'm going to go use the filter because that allows me to isolate the assessment and gives the functionality for checkout. Again, I go to the ellipsis. I found my in progress assessment. I'm going to go to the ellipsis and I'm going to do checkout. It again is telling me it's downloaded and checked out, so I am done. So these are checked out and they can sit here while I work through the rest of the day. When it's time for me to go out to my assessment, then I will then take myself offline. And the reason for that is that will then move these documents into the offline shortcut that we have. And so I will go to offline forms on my drop-down menu. I will put in my encryption key. And you can see that I have the forms in offline. They are living in my offline mode bookmark. So they are sitting in the index database file in that offline mode bookmark. You can see that I still have online access, which allows me to anytime to sync information. So we can go ahead and take Ashley's question.
Okay, Ashley, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Good. How do you do the offline mode bookmark? What do you mean by that?
So I already have one, but I can show you. So see how I have one right here? I'm just gonna, I'll just create an extra one. Hopefully It won't matter because I won't be able to take it off so you can't see me. But what you would do then is see up on the star, it's got bookmark. This little star, I think I'm in Chrome. You can create this bookmark. And when you create that bookmark done, it will, oh, it's probably got it on the bottom of my bookmark list. You'll put it here. The other piece that I have seen our trainer do is just take and slide the address. So see how I went to where it's locked and I slid the address over here.
Mhm.
Oh,
Do you need internet to get to the offline tab?
I'm sorry. So
Like
to get to this piece,
once you're out in the home, if you open up a browser, you're not
you'll click here. You'll click on
and
the bookmark.
it'll look like that. We'll be able to work
So
with it.
yeah, so what will happen is when you're offline, right? So right now I've taken my forms offline. I would then X out of my browser. I could shut my computer down. When I come back online, or when I go back out in the field, right? I open up my computer, I turn it on, I bring my browser up. It's going to say no internet connection, right? The screen will say no internet connection. And then I'll click on the offline bookmark and it will display this, just like this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. I see Ashley Lang has her hand raised.
Nope, that was an accident.
That's okay.
So Teresa, in your example, you took 2 assessments offline, but would you also be able to take an assessment and a support plan for the same person offline at the same time?
So if you have both roles, right? So if you have a certified assessor role and a case manager role, yes, you could take them both off. So you could then go to another person or the same person. You could choose the filter, pick support plan and do that. It's just that for our training zone environment, we don't have what would you call it? We don't have more than one role for our usernames anymore so that we could do testing. So I can't show you both because I only have single role for this user. But yes, you can take a support plan and an assessment offline at the same time for the same person or for different people. If you have the
Okay,
role
thanks,
that is
Teresa.
associated with it.
Okay, we have questions with hands raised. So Annie Braun, I'm going to unmute you.
I'm clear. So when you're creating the bookmark for offline forms, that's just a permanent bookmark, not one that you have to do every single time you go
Correct.
offline.
Correct.
Okay.
It's permanent. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. It's your filing cabinet.
Okay, Lana Callan. Lana, you're unmuted.
There, hopefully you can hear me.
Yep.
I was just curious. So I did the checkout process on my person and I made my bookmark, but how do I get my assessment, I guess, in offline mode to go into the bookmark, I guess? Do I have to save each, this screen that you're on? Do I have to go to offline forms and save it into the bookmark each time for each person?
So MnCHOICES does it itself. So now I put myself back in online mode, okay? Just so I could show you this. So I'm in online mode. My forms are checked out, right? I need to take them offline. So when I do offline forms, it then takes those forms and puts them in your bookmark file, okay? So when I do this,
Somehow it already knows the pathway is what you're saying?
yep, and it'll load them to here. It'll load them into the bookmark. You've created the bookmark, the default. It will then put them in that basically indexed file, which is where it's going, into that index file so that it displays here.
I guess I must be missing a step in between because I just made my bookmark, but there's no pathway file for it to go into it. So I must be missing.
So I think the issue that you're having is about when you check it out. Okay, when you check it out and the first time you'll put in your encryption key, Then you'll create your bookmark. Then you'll go to offline mode and choose offline. And then they will come over. Your encryption key will come up like it did for me the first time. And you put your encryption key in, and then it'll display the data.
I guess
It
I can't
may
even get
be-
to that.
Yeah,
point,
it
'cause
may
my-
be, right. It may be because you are in the current MTZ and it still has permission issues. So don't get frustrated by it. When you get
Well, I
to
couldn't even
the,
get to offline forms because it's still like just loading when checking out for like 10, 15 minutes. So it's not doing anything. Is that just a
Right.
known issue?
it sounds like you're experiencing some slowness. And so, yeah, you may have to just be patient and wait or go back to it later. But again, just know that your current MTZ platform, the roles and permissions are not repaired there, and they will be repaired in this new platform. So we were just asked to show you how it would work, how, you know, how it will work when you get to this new platform. So that's my goal. I see other people have their hand raised.
They do. I want to make sure to address what Lana is seeing, though. You might want to just click out of where you are and go back in and look to see if it looks like it's checked out, because it might be. Sometimes it just has a communication thing where it looks like you might be stuck, but you're not. So maybe click off, go into the person profile, then come back to forms and look at your forms list to see if there's a little lock by it,
Add lock on it.
and that'll indicate that it's checked out. Yep.
And if it's not, then check it out again.
Sure.
Or,
I do see that it is. And then you're saying I just go to my offline forms.
yep, you go to your
section.
profile, click offline forms.
Sorry,
And sorry, do you mind if we just go ahead and take another question? I don't want to have it be
Thanks, Lana.
silent airtime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next we have Leah McDowell. Hi, Leah. Oh, I unmuted someone else. They moved around. Sorry, guys. Okay, Leah, let's try this now.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
So I thought you all had said at the last meeting that we couldn't X out of the browser, but then you just said that we could shut down before going out in the field.
Yep, there are actually two methods in the offline mode. You can either leave your browser up like this, shut your computer, lock it, and go out in the field, or you can X out of it, shut your computer down, come back on, and bring up your browser. It'll show no internet connection is what will display here. Then you'll click this, which is your bookmark, and it will bring up your offline forms. It will
But
likely.
in the current training zone, when I do that, it doesn't come up at all. But that should be fixed when we get the AWS training system.
Yeah, it should be. So when you take it offline and
Yeah, and I X
come
out the
back on,
browser.
it's
And I X
blank.
out the
Is what you're saying?
Sorry. Yeah, if I X out of the browser and then I click the MnCHOICES offline bookmark, it says no internet connection, and it doesn't bring up the offline mode.
Okay, so when you click up here, it doesn't. Which browser are you using?
I tried it in both Chrome and Edge.
Okay, Edge should work. Or sorry, Chrome should work. We're finding that Edge has a place in it where the settings where it is defaulting to clear your cache when you close it, and we're going to send instructions out with that soon. I was waiting for the AWS, the MTZ new platform to come up before I send you out those instructions and to tell you where to look for it. So that's why I was asking you the question. Again, it's likely the platform that you're in. Because we've been
or Edge.
Hmm?
So I shouldn't use Chrome or Edge because the problem is happening with both of them.
No, it's not happening with. I'm not aware that it isn't working in them. If you're having an issue, it's likely because you're in the old platform and the permissions haven't been changed. So I would just ask you to wait and try it again when you move over to the new platform, which I hope will be soon.
Do you have any idea when the new platform will be available?
I can't speak to it because I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
You might want to try to clear your cache too. That sometimes might help relieve the issue, even though you're doing offline
Clear
stuff.
the cache while the assessment's offline?
She's saying just to
No.
clear it for your training, not for doing it otherwise. But anyways, yeah. She's just saying for training purposes, you may have something that's sitting in there blocking it. So you might want to clear your cache, then try it again, is what Beth is saying. So I can take a couple more questions and then we probably need to move to the next items. So we don't run out of time.
First.
Muted. This is Rosemary.
Hi, Rosemary.
Hi. Couple of questions. So how do I know what my encryption key is?
I will show you where you'll be able to find it. Again, these are some things that we've been working on for permissions in the permissions for the MTZ. So if you haven't created it already, the first time you take a form offline, you'll create your encryption key. In the MTZ Smart Guide instructions, I'm suggesting you use password 123, just like you log in as, so you don't have to try to remember it. But
okay,
let's say you're using the system for real, right? I'm using the prod environment and I can't remember my encryption key and I need to go out and do an assessment and I don't want to forget it and be stuck somewhere, right? What we've done is we're creating in your profile that you can go to this little button right here and look it up.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
you can click retrieve encryption key and look it up because you might not remember it. You don't know where it is. And so we added this feature to the roles and permissions in our work to fix other things.
All right. And it's definitely not currently a part of
Right.
the MTZ now. So
Right.
should I just use 1, 2, 3 and that will get me, that will
Just
work?
use password 123.
Okay. All right. And then is taking it offline the way you've shown us here, is it the same in the current MTZ, the old one?
The process is exactly the same.
Okay.
It's just that currently there are some of the roles and permissions are attached to the forms.
Yep.
And so we were having to do some repairs on those, but the process is the same.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Teresa, can we ask one more question?
Sure, and then we can go ahead and move on.
Okay, Sue Nelson. Hi,
Can
Sue,
you hear
you're
me now?
unmuted.
Yep, we can hear you, Sue. Go for it.
I'm just simply asking if you could go through it one more time. And then my question with the bookmark, can we create that right away, whether we're taking, like when we first get on that week in April, create that bookmark right away, or do you have to wait till you take a file offline to create it and then it'll always be there? I understood.
Yeah, you have to wait till you take a file offline.
Okay, so the very first time you take a form offline, you'd create that bookmark and then it'll always be there is what I understood.
Correct.
Okay, if you just one more time for me,
Yep.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a different form offline, right? Because I've got 2 offline already. I could check them in and check them back out and do all of that stuff, but I'm going to see if I can get Carla to open. I don't even know if she has an assessment. We'll have to check and see. Oh, she's got one offline already. Here, let me do this. I'm going to check hers, take it off of checkout, and then we'll do it. So you can see how that happens too. So I'm going to cancel the checkout for this form. Then I'm going to check it back out. So I can say we did it both. So again, remember I use this filter. it literally gives me all the forms I've currently have created in the system. As you can see with Carla, I have a bunch of forms out there. And then I pick which form type I want to do. So because I'm a certified assessor in this one, I am only able to take an assessment offline. So I'm going to check it out. I'm going to say, yep, I want to take this one offline. I really do recommend you use the SMART guide for practicing this or the micro learning, because I think it will help to have something next to you while you're doing it. So it's done. You can see it's checked out. It's got a little padlock up by it. Then I am, okay, I'm ready to go out in the field. Then I'm going to go up here to offline forms because I'm going to put myself basically in offline mode. So I have to get those forms checked out and into my, okay, there we go. It's going to say you need to give me your encryption key. I give it my encryption key. It loads my forms into my bookmark. And like I said, the SMART guide will say to you, you know, create your bookmark now. So it'll load the forms. And if this is the first time, then you can, like you saw me do before, you could drag it, put it in. And then your forms will sit there in offline mode. And then you can, like I said, either lock your computer and close your lid and go out, or you can click X out, shut your computer down, then practice turning it on. Right now I have internet connectivity, but you could practice without internet connectivity, shutting your computer off, then turning it back on, clicking on your browser, going to your offline mode. It'll bring this up. It'll ask you for your encryption key. Then you can practice entering data in. And then all you literally do is click on a form, and this, I can open this specific record up. I can, because it's the assessment, it's only going to give you the functional assessment sections. I can complete those and then I can save it. So I can just put, let's just pick something. I can do save. Then I can go back. I gotta let it catch up with me. I'm being too fast this morning. And so if I were done with that one, then it has saved the data. I can do the same thing, open this up again and keep and do the next, you know, go to the next house, next visit that I have later on in the day. Move to the next person.
And then how do you check it back in when you're done?
So when I'm all done, so what you saw is, so when I pick Carla, can you see it's got check-in up here?
Yes.
So you could, let's say, for example, you came home and you're hooked, you're not hooked to the, you're ready to go. You could just go ahead and check it in. If for some reason you had internet connectivity somewhere else and you wanted to sync your data before you go back into the office, you could, but you just do check in here. I do continue. My internet's a bit slow today.
Did you say you don't need the internet to check it in?
No, you do need the internet to check it in. It needs to be up here.
Would.
Yeah. Otherwise it wouldn't work. You're right.
Okay.
So then I'm going to do done. And then there you go. Carla's off my list. She's been checked back in when I go look for her, right? So if I go back online. And I go back to Carla. And I go back to forms. I'm going to just do assessment so you can see the in-progress assessment is checked back in.
Okay, that was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And so you know, the micro learnings do the same exact thing. They will show you it. So there's one called taking forms offline, one's called working offline, and the other one is checking forms back in. They're all 2 to 3 minutes long, and you can just put them up. They're in the help center. In your current environment, you can watch them in the help center. When you're in the training zone for this new platform, you will have to go review them in TrainLink, and it will say that in the Help Center. It'll tell you the TrainLink course to watch them in. I was just going to quick show you that too. And then I think if you want to, could you guys keep your, how many more people do we have with questions? I just want to make sure. I mean, this is an important one. People have had lots of questions on it. I want to make sure they get them answered, but I don't want to eat up all the time so we don't talk about anything else either. Oh, I
We
must
have
have
6.
spelled it wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, now 7 folks.
So go ahead, ask the next question. If I do offline, it'll be faster. Oh, but see, you can see right here,
Okay.
go to TrainLink MnCH 901, also has every single micro learning. So go ahead,
Okay.
Beth.
Angela Desto. Hi, Angela.
If you're able to do this, Teresa. I'm not sure
Sorry,
if-
we cannot. I can hardly hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I can hear you just great. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not sure if you're able to do this because I'm not sure which MTZ you're in, but like, can you disconnect your network settings? Because I can't get it to go beyond, you know, where I can see the icon, and as long as I'm online, I can see it all. But obviously it's not working correctly in the current system. So I was just curious what it looks like. So that's my first question. And secondly,
Yep, go for it.
I just don't understand the whole sync thing because
Why
I
would
guess,
you use it kind of thing?
well, the only time I can think of when I'd use it is if I came across like a coffee shop or something and like a Wi-Fi that way. And then wouldn't it be kind of dangerous to do it on a public platform?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, the question is, when would you use Sync?
Yeah.
I think Sync is available if you have a safe place that you can, if you get internet connectivity that you can do it. But nope, I hear you loud and clear. What I was going to do is what I was going to try to show you is if you go to MTZ current one and you go to the micro learning and you take working offline, it'll show you what it looks like when it comes back when you click on your browser to work offline. It'll show you what it looks like. So I was going to try to get there to see if I can get that video up to show you it. And I'm wondering if it's okay if I go to the next person while I try to bring that up, and then you'll at least get to see what the screenshot looks like, because I'm not going to be able to do it because I need to be online for you guys to talk to me, right?
Oh,
So
yeah. Sorry, I didn't think of that.
no, that's
Okay,
okay,
that's
right?
fine.
That's why we're working through this together. So go ahead, Beth, and take the next one, and then I will try to bring up a screenshot of this by downloading the video for a second.
Okay, Giovanna, you are unmuted.
Here it comes. Can you guys hear that? So this is
We
what you'll
can't,
see.
Teresa.
Okay, so this is what you'll see. Okay, so you're going to see that you're not connected. So then he's going to go. I'll just show you. So you can see he's now on offline. You can see it shows that it's offline and you get a sense of it. So again, these micro learnings, which are right now in your MTZ help, this one was working offline. And so that gives you a way to actually see what that looks like. Sorry, I know we have a person waiting.
Oh, Giovanna, I unmuted you. Okay, I'll go on to the next person. Sherry Dodds.
Hello?
Hi, Sherry. We can hear you.
Oh, great. Just a question. Hopefully it's an easy one. The encryption key. I missed how you're supposed to get your encryption key.
So when you go to the smart guide, again, I'm just going to really recommend that you use that smart guide. What will happen is the first time you check out a form, when you pick the filter and you find the right form and you do checkout, at that time it will prompt you to enter your encryption key.
Yep.
That will be the first time, okay?
So what do you enter?
So for MTZ, I'm saying use password 123. For prod, I don't recommend that because everyone will have the same one. You'll create one for yourself that you can remember. It needs to be, something that someone can't figure out easily enough, like the one I just gave you. For MTZ, it's pretty simple. Everyone will know it. But for prod, you'll pick your encryption key for yourself. You'll choose one.
So when it comes up, enter your encryption key, then you can just make yours up at that point.
Correct. That was a good question because I think that was been implied by me but hasn't been said directly. So thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, Kathy McMahon.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad we're talking about offline mode, and I find it difficult that we're talking about, like, you're demonstrating in the zone that we don't have access to yet, and we launch in 2 weeks, and we're having because of that roles and permissions issues, we're not able to fully test it. And so my question is, have you tried testing this in airplane mode or the no internet environment, so that we know
Yeah.
that it will
Yeah, we
function
have.
that way? And what level of testing has been done? Because we're just a little nervous about this since we can't practice it. Thank you.
Well, yeah, so a couple things, Kathy, just so you're aware. So the videos that we made were a testing of it in offline because you can see it says offline connectivity and was recorded that way. Secondly, when we did the roles and permissions changes, both Kathy, Heather, and a few other people tested offline forms for an assessment, a health risk assessment, and a support plan. Tested them all, made sure they all worked, and were able to successfully do it with the roles and permissions changes we did. So there were at least, I'll say 4, 5 people testing across different forms. So it has had some serious testing with the roles and permissions.
So do you think we'll be able to test it before the launch, on our own, and practice it in the new
Yeah,
2Z?
that is what I have been hoping for. And so I am waiting to find out when they will release the URL to you. Like I said, we've been working through the roles and permissions and getting them all set up. They're doing some final testing this week, but I can't say for sure when. I haven't been given a time frame, so I'm hesitant to say more than that. But yeah.
Do you know if there's been much testing in the actual prod site on the offline function?
We, as we noted in the release schedule, the way the release schedule is working, well, first of all, prod will, the roles and permissions have been checked for prod for any of the changes that we've made in the current MTZ. We've checked prod. So you should see similar functionality as you will see when you get to the new MTZ platform.
Thanks for the update.
Sure, you're welcome. Beth, how many more questions do we have? I want to make sure that, this is priority, right? People have had a concern about this, so I don't want to cut it off, but I'm watching the time tick away.
We still have about 6 people.
So,
are you ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, Tanya Smith.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can perfectly, thank you.
Just wondering, and you may have done this already and I missed it, so I apologize. Can you remind everybody where to find that quick study guide? Because there seems to be a lot of steps for taking forms offline and back
Yep.
on again.
Yep, nope, that's very fair. So if you're in the Help Center and you go to Smart Guide, I'm just going to put offline on here. If I spell well, you'll be able to see it. Man. It will show up. There we go.
Perfect.
And,
Thank you.
and the Smart Guides are step by step. We are doing a tweak to the offline form, so I'm hoping it'll be available in the new MTZ platform the same time you come in. So we're working to get those changes made. So, but you will be able to follow it. It will make sense to you. And like I said, you can use the micro learning as well as a step by step too.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Joel Johnson.
Morning, Joel. Are you there?
No, I'm sorry that again it moved. Joel, now you're unmuted. Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I know with the current assessment tool, when it launched back in 2015, 14 timeframe, there were problems with offline data not saving, and much assessment data was lost for a fairly significant period of time until that improved and got resolved. And I don't know if it was an issue with the internet connection. I'm guessing it was that staff, when they were bringing offline assessments online, they were having a connection issue somewhere. And there was an interruption to the migration of that offline data to the server. And I know there were problems with the server, lacked capacity, I believe, and there were fixes done on that, of course, and that helped to improve things with lost offline data. But I just wanted to know, I'm curious, has that all been looked at in terms of the capacity of the server to minimize any, issues with that loss of offline data? It would be nice to know that that's been looked at. We don't want to repeat some of that lost offline data that was, and there was a way to restore it, but the restore didn't always work. And I don't know if there's a sort of a like process to the the 1.0. And
So
then
I think, go ahead.
just mention real quick, and then I'll take my hand down, is that it's important that staff, or that it be mentioned that when an assessment is brought online, to make sure you check your data. When it's brought online, you want to make sure to check your data right away to make sure that everything's saved. That would be kind of a lesson learning point with the current tool, because staff were bringing their offline assessment online and they weren't necessarily checking sometimes to make sure that data is saved. Because if there's a delay in opening up that assessment that you brought online, if you delay that process for a day or 2 or 3 days or something, and then you go back in and you open up that assessment and you see that data didn't save, it complicates the process of restoring that data. So I don't know if there's a similar thing going on with the revision project that we need to be made aware of.
So I'll talk a little bit about, you heard earlier ask, when would we use sync? And you could choose to use sync for exactly what you heard Joel talk about. So let's say, yep, I'm ready to check in my form, but I'm a little nervous about, is my data going to be saved, right? So in that instance, you could sync your data right? You could click on your form and choose sync. You could put yourself back online mode, go look at the form data and see if it's been updated. And then if it has, then go ahead and check it in, because check-in will sync it again and it'll remove it from your queue, where sync will just pull the data into your form. And so if you're a little nervous about it to start out with, reasonably so, because it's important data, right? You could choose to sync, go back online, go look at the form in online mode, see, yep, the data's there. It'll still show locked, so you won't be able to work in it, but you'll be able to see the data has been updated. Then you could go back to offline, come back to this and check it in. And then checking in and would unlock it at that point, because, and it, you know, would still pull data, but it wouldn't remove the data from what you sent, what was the sync. So I think in some ways sync provides you that protection, is to just go ahead and sync when you come back in the office, then go check your form data if you're, you know, if you feel like you want to make sure it's there before you check it in. So I think that's an opportunity that sync provides.
Okay. I think there's a typo in the training module and train link for taking an assessment offline. There's a screenshot on one of the slides that says, do not X out of your browser while you have forms offline.
So will you, if you want to, you can just report it into the help desk. It may have been, we updated the versions of it, but it may be that it's displaying an old version for you, but I'll double check it. So I would prefer that you put that one in just through the help desk and with a screenshot, and I'll double check it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Lee Magnuson.
Hi, I have a couple questions. So when it's approved by MMIS and it still shows that it's active, there's not an option to take it offline. So when can we not take an assessment offline?
An assessment has to be in progress. That's the status it has to be in to be able to take it offline.
So I have one too that says in progress, assessment complete.
That's a support plan, and that's when you can take that one offline. Yep.
No, and then when I click on that, it just says open record. It doesn't give me an offline option.
It's because, did you use the filter?
Uh-huh.
So you are probably in a situation where that's a permission that we fixed for support plan, because we were having issues with taking support plans offline in the current MTZ. And so we fixed the permission.
Okay, because it says in progress, assessment complete, and then it says it's not active. So I don't know what the active means.
Yeah, so it would be, I'll show you what it's talking about. I'll probably have to show it to you with a. Do you have another open support plan? Because active is usually the last support plan. But I'm guessing it's because of the permissions. Yeah, you might want to send it in.
Well, it might not show active. That's a strange column, but it doesn't always mean that the plan isn't your last plan.
Oh yeah, so it's, I can see it. Here's a support plan. I can check it out. I don't know that it's going to let me because I'm a certified assessor, so I anticipate getting an error message back, just so you know, but that's how you would do it. Yep, I'm getting some error occurred because I don't have the permission to check this one out because I'm not a case manager.
Okay, and then I also have one that's locked, but it's not in offline mode. So do I just unlock it?
Yeah, you can try to check it back. So you can use the filter again and try to cancel the checkout. It might not work some point if you did it a while back. There are a few files that I'll call that say damaged. I don't know what else to call them. They stay locked out or checked out or checked in. And so we've seen that on some old forms for ourselves. We've run into that too.
Okay, and then I notice you always have to use that filter prior to taking something offline. Always.
Correct. Always. Yep. The filter is
Thank you.
preparing it. Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, Giovanna.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can.
I think the caption showed you maybe calling my name earlier. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to hear anything when Teresa played that video and I had to reset my whole WebEx. So my question is a bit technical actually. When we save things for offline use, it's in that cache. For us visual learners, it's in that little tiny link in our browser. And then we bring it back online and presumably there's nothing in the cache then, right? I
There's
guess I'm a
nothing in
little
that indexed folder. Yep.
okay. So if we clear our cache while everything is offline, let's say all of our data is online and we clear the cache, we shouldn't be in trouble, theoretically.
It will remove all of your files from your file cabinet. Yep, from your indexed file.
Okay, but let's say everything is online. Everything
Oh,
we work
okay.
on
So
is online.
if you've checked everything back in or synced everything, then yes, if you clear your cache, it won't harm anything. This
Okay, good.
file cabinet is empty, so it won't
Okay.
have any effect on any of the data in it.
Yeah, I guess my only concern, I guess this is more of an IT technical. If we keep, presumably we will be doing that all the time, keeping things offline and then bringing them back online. I'm wondering if the cache can be bogged down and then at some point we would have to clear it. Probably I won't be clearing mine at all, but if there is an
Well,
issue.
Yeah, I think the reality is you should only be taking your forms offline and bringing them online as you're doing your work, right? And then bringing them online. So there isn't a reason why you can't clear your cache once all your forms are online.
Yeah.
So you'll just need to be planful, right? About like, when do I have things offline? Won't clear my cache now. Okay, everything's online. I'll clear my cache to, you know, speed it up and make it work better. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Trista Hobus. Trista, do you have questions still?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Okay. I have two questions. They're not offline mode related.
Can we hold them and just make sure we have everyone offline done? Because I'd like to get through my slides and then answer other questions.
Okay.
Thank you. So folks with your hands raised, do you have other offline questions? Otherwise, I'd like to move on to the other slides. If you don't have offline questions, could you put your hands down?
Okay, Gloria. Gloria, can you hear us okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm wondering, is there going to be, and please, I just need like 30 seconds to read it because I just typed it out. Is there going to be a hotline to dial into of sorts for technical questions when this rolls out? Because it's incredibly concerning that we can't even practice the first basic step in assessing a person by taking it offline right now because the rollout, we can't even do it in training mode. So this whole new rollout has the potential to disrupt services for hundreds of people since there's 100 some slides of errors in when it is online in the assessment, and now we can't even practice going offline, and then when we try to ask questions we're told we don't have time for it. But this whole program is just kind of seems to be a lot of errors, and it's very concerning that it's not even usable in training mode at this point.
So a couple of items on that. So first of all, we'll walk through the current functionality document today and how to use it. Secondly, you do have a transition plan where 10% of you are in and then 30% and then 100%. So it will allow for some time for training in the training zone and making the transition to this. Then lastly, in regarding to technical questions, the help desk form is there to ask those as you're having them. We don't have though a phone number just to make sure I answer that question specifically. I mean, the help desk has a phone number on the County Link page. So if we go to MnCHOICES County link, we go to help desk, you can see here's the contact form and the phone number, but I would really limit, unless it is something that was on, really an emergency, I would recommend that you use the help desk form. So the goal for that transition period is to allow you to get in, try it, and then work your way through adding more staff as a way to make that work. But there aren't as we are hearing you talk about errors. I will talk about the current functionality document soon, and we'll talk some more about those. So I'm just going to leave it at that for current. But yep, we hear your concern. We really are listening to you on it, and but we are moving forward with launch.
Okay, Patricia Boutry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I am a delegate of MCO and a certified assessor. We do the support plan in the assessment with one person. Are we able to pull offline both the assessment and the support plan?
So the question is really going to be about the timing for it. So your support plan, this is a more complicated question than is easily to talk about without a visual. But if you think about it this way, a support plan, if you're doing a health risk assessment or a MnCHOICES assessment MCO support plan, you will need the assessment to be in a complete status to be able, so it needs to be kind of in that first MMIS status to be able to pull data into the support plan so that it is showing in complete, or its status will be complete assessment in progress. And so working on them in tandem in the field, I don't see a way that that functionality would work. It really is made for you complete your assessment, then you work on the support plan when you're in the office, or if you're a case manager doing, as a county case manager doing it separately. Then if you're going out into the field and working on a support plan, you would do it after the assessment is in a status that is one of those MMIS statuses. So that's about the best that I can answer it, and anyone on policy is welcome to hop in.
As a certified assessor or care coordinator, currently we complete the assessment in the support plan in the member's home or in the community, and we obtain the signatures at the same time. So the
for a health risk assessment?
For yes, for LTCC. So if we do a MnCHOICE assessment, the full assessment, or if we do an HRA, let's say that we have a CADI or a DD, so we just do the HRA for the MCOs. Are you recommending that we do 2 separate visits, one for the assessment and one for the support plan?
I can't speak to the policy piece. That was why I was asking policy about that.
Okay.
Teresa, this is Sue
Typically
Andrew. Yeah, I
Thanks,
think
Sue.
that we need to look at this because I think the instructions do and tell them to take both the support plan and the assessment off before they go.
It says that they could take their health risk assessment and the MnCHOICES assessment offline.
Yes.
But it doesn't speak to the support plan.
And the corresponding support plans. So they might have to take 4 things. That's what the instructions say. So if we need to look at this, I'm just saying.
Okay.
So I don't think we
All
should
right.
continue the conversation right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Joe.
Okay, Sherry Dodds.
This is not so much a question, but a concern, and I'll make it super short, is that I know that DHS, and I understand they can't possibly probably field all the questions people are going to have when they're out there trying to do this. But to the advice of submitting a question to the DSD Center, my experience with that is that I put in a question, and it's not just been my experience, but I can speak for my unit. we submit a question, and then when we get the question, the answer back, unfortunately, so often it doesn't address the question, or we don't understand the answer. And then we're just left back at square one. And that becomes, I mean, you literally just want to set down your stuff and just.
We understand that. Part of that is because you know how written communication is, right? Like sometimes it's hard to, we think we know what you're saying and we respond back to it. You say, oh, that's not what we were saying. We were saying this. And what I see oftentimes is that the more information you can provide us in screenshots and in other ways to clarify your written communication is most helpful to minimize that going back and forth. Because I understand that. I run into that same issue. I kind of go, okay, I think I know what this person is talking about, but maybe it really isn't this, maybe it's that. And so sometimes that then is the reason why you see that back and forth. So the more information you can provide us, I know that that's not probably the answer you want, the more likely you're going to get a response that isn't like, no, that's not what I was asking, but instead, oh yeah, that they got to what I was wondering about. So, and
Well,
then
I just would love DHS to recognize that that is a broken system. It doesn't work, and they just keep using that as their lifeline for us, and it's like a deflated lifeline. It doesn't work.
Yep, I hear you.
They need to look at that and support us. If they're going to roll this out, they have to support us. And it just seems like that just doesn't, and I know you can't, you're not, you're not the one, but somebody has to listen. Maybe you know who the one is. They have to, even if it's short-term, call in line and put some staff in there and help the counties get these things done, not for our sake, but for the sake of the people we're serving. I mean, and then it's just not, it's not person-centered for, their practices are not person-centered towards us as their, people who are going out and doing the legwork on this. They're not listening. So that
I have your concern logged, so thank you, and I will I share the notes from these webinars with folks, so I will pass it along. So thank you. Yep, and then Beth, I need to make sure we get through the next ones, and then if there is more questions at the end, we can take them, okay?
Good, thank you.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the current functionality document. We're hearing you speak about it as well. Part of why we want to talk to you about it is we know at our last meeting, mentor meeting, we had walked through all those details, and that list feels or can feel overwhelming. And so, and I'm sorry, I'm just being careful about my word usage because I don't want to assume nor make you feel like I wasn't listening to you. So I'm trying to be careful about that. But part of what we want to talk to you about is how to potentially use the tool to make it work better for you. And so I'm sitting here trying to bring it up. So part of what you already know is we put it in the training zone so that you can practice with it, so that you can kind of, as you're training on forums and running into issues, you can go to look at it, refer to it, and have your questions answered. That is an important piece. It's a piece that all of us have learned here at DHS. The more practice we do, the better we feel about understanding the application and how it's used. But the second part I want to talk to you about is a little bit about the table of contents and using it as a reference guide. And specifically, I want to just talk to you about it from this aspect. One thing to think about when you think about this current functionality document is to think about it as using the table of contents to say, okay, I've got this person in mind. I'm doing work on their assessment. We're doing work on their support plan or doing work on their health risk assessment. And I just need to quick look through this list and say, what might I run into while I'm working with this person? And so you might just quick go through it, say, oh, it's not an assessment. I'll go down to the support plan section. Which ones am I going to run into? And just using it as a kind of a quick reference will reduce it feeling, we believe will help reduce feeling it overwhelming, because you'll be able to say, okay, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. This person is 65 and older. I'll look for the ones that are 65 and older and know that those are the ones that I need to pay attention to for this person. And so kind of you first had to digest what they were. Secondly, these are really here just to help you now as you determine who you're working with and what may affect them, to then find those and then go back and use those workarounds. And then lastly, we have provided some screenshots in them, and when we've done it because you needed to have a little bit more context about what the workaround is. It might not have made sense to just talk about it out loud. And so we have added screenshots to try to make it, or read it, talk about it out loud, unless you're reading out loud to yourself, to help you understand what you're looking at and what fields we're talking about. So that's really the plan for why those screenshots exist. Amy, how would you like to do the assessment results demo? Do you want me to stop sharing and do you want to share instead? How would you like to move forward with that?
Hi, Teresa. This is Amy Alexander. I can start just talking about the slide, and then I'll have you stop share. Maybe I don't even have to have you stop. I might just be able to take over and share.
Okay, cool. Go for it. Try it.
You can hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the assessment results and some of the issues that are in that current functionality document around assessment results. And so we just wanted to reiterate that MnCHOICES does correctly determine level of care and program eligibility. And so when you run results, you can be confident in the level of care determinations and the program eligibility determinations. We've done a lot of testing on it, and it's working really well. So what is laid out in the current functionality doc is kind of just how the results are displayed, and we have some change requests in with our vendor to change that display so that it's a lot clearer and it's not so, there's not so confusing where there's some things that say not eligible, but it says met. So we are going to be clearing that up. But in the meantime, you will notice on the current functionality document some, I guess you can call them workarounds but it's really about how you read the results. And so I just kind of wanted to show that again. I know we talked about it at one of the last mentor meetings, but I just wanted to show it again and kind of show how, when I'm working in the system, how I kind of view the results and make it easier for me. So Teresa, I'm going to go ahead and try to share. And let me know if you can see it.
We can see it. Thanks, Amy.
Great. Okay, so you'll see here I have our friend Delfer Johnson up here, so that we use a lot for our training purposes. And I'm just right into his results. I wanted to have it set up so we didn't have to waste time getting to it. But I just went into his assessment form and I clicked over here in his assessment results and I hit get results. And so you'll see here that this first part where it says institutional level of care will show you the level of care that most closely aligns with his needs based on, what information we put into the assessment. And so we had heard with our last system, we had heard a lot of feedback of people wanting more direct, well, which is their level of care? So they maybe qualify for a couple different ones, but which is theirs? And same with the program eligibility. So maybe they qualify for a couple different waivers, but can you help me determine which one is, the best one for them? And so that's kind of how we try to set up the system. And like I said, we're doing some changes on how it displays to help it work better, but that's kind of what you'll see here. So it tells you right here that this person's level of care is brain injury, so BINF, level of care. And then as you scroll down, I kind of have these collapsed a little bit, but this next section tells you the institutional level of care results. And so you'll see here that it will show you the other levels of care. So this first one is their main level of care. And then down here, you'll see, they also met NF level of care. If you expand these, it'll tell you, what areas they met to meet that level of care. It tells you the details there. But the wrapped up level will say, okay, here's the 2 level of care they met. And then when you keep scrolling down, so you'll go to the program eligibility summary first. And this one will tell you that waiver program that aligns most closely with their level of care based on their specialized needs. So this is where, you know, we have some changes in the works to make this a little bit more accurate, the view more accurate, but this one right here will tell you that their waiver that aligns. And then when you continue to scroll down, the program eligibility details will tell you those additional waivers that they have met all of the eligibility for. So you'll see here, even though brain injury is the one that shows here, as you scroll down, it'll say, oh wait, he met brain injury and CADI. Again, it'll tell you exactly what was in there that he met. So I just wanted to show that, just kind of another way of looking at everything and explaining those program eligibility things that are on the current functionality, and just reiterating that it is working correctly. It's just kind of a workaround of how you look at the results until we kind of get this fixed. So I wanted to show that, and I can stop and see if there's any questions before we move on.
I am wondering if, let's see, Annie Braun, I'm trying to pick people who just came to the queue, as they're most likely going to have questions about what it is you're presenting versus folks that have been waiting with other questions.
Hi, this is Annie.
So Annie, go ahead.
I'm just questioning, and maybe I missed it, but can you clarify what it is that is not displaying correctly and how you would like it to display in the assessment results?
So what I'm kind of referencing is the current functionality document that Teresa was kind of speaking about. And so there are some, I think maybe 3 different areas within this assessment results that are listed on that current functionality document. That's kind of that known issues, I guess, document that we used to refer to as known issues. And it's just, so I'm just kind of wrapping those up to kind of show you as a whole. I don't know. I know, Teresa, I just want to be mindful, Teresa, of how much other time we have if I'm going to get into the details of what those are. Teresa, what do you prefer?
I guess I just want to, because we started by saying that everything is correct, but some things don't display correctly, and I just want to clarify what those things are, if you can show them.
Right. Yep. So if you go to program eligibility details, you know, where each of the waivers show met. Yeah. And so you know how when you click on them, they will show then program eligibility status not eligible. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You're
so
talking
program
to me, Teresa?
eligibility details. Yep.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay. So do you want me to go through each of them and tell which? Okay.
Just click on that one for an example.
Okay, so this is an example of one of them that's on the current functionality document that we're saying is kind of the workaround, is that when you scroll down to these program eligibility details, you'll see the waivers that they're met. But when you click into them, the one that aligns with their highest level of care here is going to say eligible aligns with level of care. And when you click into any other one that doesn't align with that highest, I guess, highest level of care, when you click into it, it's going to say not eligible here. So this is an example of one of them that's on the current functionality doc. It says, it will say met here, and when you click into it, it might say not eligible here, but you're just going to disregard this. So you're going to look at this view, and whatever one is met is actually the programs that they met criteria for. And you'll see when you scroll down, you know, that they met all the criteria besides being over 65 and returning. So that's one example. So is that this is the view that you'll look at to see what other programs they met eligibility for. Where up here is just going to tell you the one that aligns with their specialized level of care.
And that was really the goal of the screenshot, but it was clear that that was confusing to folks. So we chose to come back to it and say, hey,
right,
it works correctly. It's just that if you go a little bit deeper, sometimes those deeper details may not display correctly, and those are in the current functionality document.
Yeah, so another example of that is just the level of care. So the current functionality doc walks you through this one where this is their primary level of care, but if you scroll down and look at this institutional level of care results, it will tell you the other levels of care that they might have met.
Okay, our next question is from Kim.
I just want to make sure we get through everything, Beth. I want you to hold the questions.
Okay.
I want to make sure we get through everything,
Okay.
and then people can ask. Otherwise, I'm concerned we're going to run out of time for the few other pieces. So do you want to do? Okay,
Yeah,
so
if you want to, if you don't mind, Teresa, bringing back up the PowerPoint just so we can go through the next slide, and then I'll take it over again. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So let's go do that. So the other thing we want you to do when you look at the current functionality document is we want to talk a bit about the case mix a little. So Amy, I'm going to let you go ahead and just do this piece too.
Sure. So yeah, so the other kind of bucket of items on the current functionality doc that we had some feedback that people were a little concerned about was the case mix. That people were feeling that case mix, wasn't working correctly in the system because of the items that we reviewed on the current functionality document last time. And so we just kind of wanted to frame it up a little differently for you so that you kind of have an idea of like what case mix are kind of on your radar. So it's not all the time that, you have to be worried about case mix not working. In the majority of times, the case mix classifications are working correctly in the system, and you can be confident in those. But there are 3 scenarios that you need to pay attention to, and these are all, again, on that current functionality document. It explains exactly the workarounds or what you need to do, but I'm just today trying to kind of frame up what those are so that hopefully you can feel a little better about what's going on with case mix, just a summary of the issues. So there's 3 scenarios, like I said, where you do need to kind of pay closer attention. And that is people who are over 65 with a case mix A or an L. And that doesn't mean necessarily that every time that's going to be wrong, but those are the ones you need to be mindful of. And we just threw in some percentages there. I just am like a data and numbers person, and it helps me kind of frame things up for me. So it just helps to think, okay, so the 12% and 14% are the number of people over 65 that fall into those case mixes. So it kind of just gives you an idea of maybe the frequency that you might see this. So case mix A or L, if you see that with over 65, you'll just kind of want to refer back to the current functionality document. It'll walk you exactly through what you might need to look at. The second scenario is anyone with a case mix J. So when you go to run results and you see that case mix J, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, but you'll want to refer back to the current functionality for that. And that's about 3 to 4% of people that have assessments fall into that case mix. And I'm not going to go through the actual defects because I know we went through them before, and I know we're kind of short on time, Teresa, but this is just kind of summarizing them. And then for people who are determined to be confined to bed. So when you're doing the transferring item, and if it's a person who is selected as being confined to bed, then you'll want to refer to that current functionality doc too and see if there's anything that further that you need to do. So it was just the intent of this slide was just kind of to help summarize what those case mix issues are, and then you'll refer back to that document to kind of talk about the workarounds and what you'll have to do in those scenarios. I don't really have anything to show on this one. I mean, I can show the case mix J or something, but Teresa, I think just in the interest of time and knowing we might have more questions, I think I'll not share a screen at this point.
Yep, that sounds great. I'm going to go through the next couple of slides. We can determine if we want me to show how to attach a file, but I want to make sure that we get at least a little bit of time left for questions. But I just think that offline was important for people to see. So the folks here at MnCHOICES have asked me to talk about these next 2 slides to kind of give you an idea of how fixes are prioritized, as well as kind of the next step for prioritizing the fixes. So we have a MnCHOICES system governance group. They've reviewed and prioritized all the workarounds and enhancements that are needed to the application. And they include counties, tribal nations, managed care organizations, DHS, and MNIT on that governance group. And what's going to occur is after launch, the vendor will begin working on a prioritized list of fixes. So they have all of the fixes. They've all been prioritized by that the input group. And so they've all been prioritized, and then the vendor will go through and start putting groupings together and creating a release schedule. And then we will then, post-launch, share that release schedule with you and move forward with working through the fixes. My goal was, I was hearing people say they wanted to see attaching a document to a record. I think right now we'll go ahead and take questions. If we have time, we'll do this. If not, I will add this to a future webinar. It isn't very difficult to do, and I just don't want to take the time if there are other things that you want to make sure you can ask questions about. So let's just wait here and let's just go ahead and take questions, Beth, knowing that we have a few minutes left.
Okay, that sounds good. Our first question is from, there's not a name. It's it starts with A and it has 099200 or 202. Sorry for referring to you like that, but that's all I have to go on. I unmuted you. Are you there?
Let's go ahead and go to the
Okay,
next question.
Yep. Andrea Ring.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Next question, please.
Jennifer Dullholm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So my question is, while doing the assessment, I received the right case mix with the results, but then when I went to go do a customized living, that case mix was not coming up correctly. And I couldn't find anything in the workaround regarding that.
So could you report it in, please, on the help desk form? And we'll look at it.
Sure.
That'd be great. And if you would, please reference the person and the form ID if you have it, and that will make it easier for us to look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Jessica Nicholson.
In the access and navigation training on TrainLink, a comment is stated that when a primary assignment is made, a notification is sent to the MICP contact person for the lead agency. I'm wondering if you can explain a little bit more about what kind of a notification. So will we be receiving something? Will our MICP person be receiving a notification each time a primary assignment is made in revision? Or what does that look like?
So notifications are something that we will have to give you more information at launch. Part of what we have been doing is spending the time currently really testing all the forms and making sure they work. There's conversation on our side about notifications at launch. And so overall, what happens with a notification, so you just understand how they work, is if something occurs, a notification says, okay, this occurred, I need to let this person know. So it's something in the system. So let's say an assessment moves to gets assigned to a person, then that person gets a notification that says, yep, it's yours. And so in that instance, it was referring to if an MICP role is chosen and an action happens, then the notification is sent. And usually it says something really basic like this thing has occurred. Like, I don't know what it would be. Maybe it would be, yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn about what it would be. I will go back and look at it though to make sure that it is accurate in its representation. At this point, we aren't using, I mean, we have you guys set up to have your MICPs in the system, but we're having you use the transfer document. And so at
Yeah,
this,
that was when our MICP person listened to the training, she thought, oh my gosh, am I going to get a notification every time an assessment or support plan is created for somebody in our county? So that's kind of what we're
they won't.
curious with
No.
that.
Okay.
Thank you. That was it.
Yep. Yep. You're welcome.
Okay, Tanya Smith.
Can you hear me?
We can.
I just had a quick question. You had mentioned about the things calculating correctly, and now we talked about the case mix. I'm still a little concerned. Most of the folks that I assess are over the age of 65. And I do get an occasional case mix J, and I'm confused because you had mentioned that the current functionality will walk you through what to do, but what does that mean? I guess I'm a little lost with that whole process.
So what she was talking about specifically is when you get to this document, if you end up with someone with a, sorry, when you end up with someone with a case mix J, then you will click on, or you can go to this section and click on it, and that will literally walk you through the directions on what to do to check and to see if it's correct.
So anytime we have somebody with a case mix A, L, J, or someone that's determined to be confined to the bed, we should be referring back to the current functionality to assure that things are correct.
That they're displaying the way they're supposed to. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Kim Purple? Kim, you're unmuted.
Yes, thank you. Two questions. First one is the current functionality document that we saw that you shared, and also the one that I'm looking at MTZ, has an updated date of February of 2022. Are we to assume that's current at the very top?
I think they didn't change the date because it's the second version. I was noticing it too. Yeah. So once
So
they're
we are
making the
to assume it's current for
you should assume it's
2023?
current. Yes, it's current.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
thank
sorry
you.
about that. I caught that date too. I'm like, oh, they didn't update the date. Yep.
Okay. Second question goes back to last week's training for onboarding. Are we to use the state of Minnesota MnCHOICES support plan request and authorization form when we have new staff to onboard? That's what we currently are using today to get somebody, say for instance, we have a new staff that needs to be added for access. Is that form, I don't recall hearing that last week during the onboarding training, and are we to continue to use that going forward?
So in the Minnesota Service Hub, there is a MnCHOICES form. There will be a MnCHOICES form in there for support plan and one for the revised MnCHOICES application. But you need to know that you need to follow the SMART guide for adding and managing users in the production site, because you'll be adding your staff, a lead agency security admin role, will be adding your staff into the system, then you'll be submitting the ticket in, and the ticket will be what then the SAM team will activate the account. So you'll be doing the system setup of the account in the system, then you'll put in your ticket into the DHS security team, and then they will activate the account.
Correct. My question stems back to, currently we have our delegates, because I'm from an MCO, and we currently have our delegates submit this form to us when they need to add somebody.
Yep.
The concern is that this does not include the TrainLink ID, which would be a huge missing piece for our security liaison, which is a requirement going forward.
Yeah, so what you heard me say in the training is that it's being updated and it includes the TrainLink ID.
Got it.
So,
that's a piece I missed. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, we have someone with just initials MS.
And then Beth, this is the last one because we're at time.
Oh, we are.
Can I continue with my question?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is actually just more a statement of request than it is a question.
Could you speak a little louder? You're very soft.
Try. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better, yes.
Okay, this is just more of a statement of request than it really is a question. And it's with all respect to all the hard work you guys have done to getting us to a launch date. Our request would really just be to have a month or two to work and train our staff in the new MTZ training zone before launch. We believe that it is definitely a realistic expectation to be able to use a working training zone for a month or two before we launch, and wanted to voice that. So I appreciate you listening and thank you for hearing that.
Sure. And again, please know that's that transition time for 10%, 30% to 100% is also part about that as well. So I'm sorry, folks, but we are at time. These always go fast. Thank you for the time that you've given us today to talk through your questions, to be able to demo some stuff so that you were aware of kind of how offline worked, and to talk a little bit about framing the current functionality document a little bit more. So please know it is much appreciated. We will see you again soon for our next session. And we also have an office hours the first Friday of April. So I just want to thank you for your time today, and we will see you again soon. So I am going to put myself on mute, and Taylor, you can end the recording. Team, I am going to leave the call, and I thank you all very much.